Good evening, everybody. Hope the team is ready. Miss Anjali Naya, good evening.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening. Jyoti ma'am, good
Good
evening.
evening, sir.
Miss Arida, Miss Arun, Mr. Arun, sorry.
Good evening, sir. We are ready.
Good evening, good evening.
Good evening,
All
sir.
participants, let's start. Over to Arun sir. Arun Mohan sir,
All right,
please.
sir. All right. So, welcome to everyone to the 173rd web training series of our CBSE Bharat Sahodaya. Now, let's turn on our AI to invite our moderator of this day.
Good.
So, without any further delay, let's yes. Sorry for the delay. It's a small problem. Just wait a second.
Dear educators, human learning has the hallmark of learning concepts from diverse sources of information. I, the entity, welcome you all to 173rd session of BTAG deals with a panoramic learning program, which consists of inclusive and differential teaching learning strategies. It also explains how anecdotal records help teachers track the behavior of learners. Now I present Jarvis to introduce the moderator of this session. Good evening to all. I welcome all the enthusiastic educators to the 173rd web training series of BTAG in association with CBSE Bharat Sahodaya. Now it's my pleasure to introduce today's moderator, Ms. Jyoti Jain. She is an English educator from JBM Global School Noida, resource person AIEF and moderator. With an experience of more than a decade in teaching senior classes, she has been senior coordinator for the British Council for International School Awards, along with being in charge for comparing and coordinating many inter- and intra-school programs. She has recently completed training on mentoring teachers on competency-based education project of CBSE, which was delivered by Cambridge Education in partnership with the British Council India. She has conducted a webinar on the techniques to master writing skills for Class X with overwhelming response. And also she was among one of the speakers in Speak to Success webinar to present her views on meditation. She believes many such opportunities have excelled her communication skills, and she is looking forward to offering her valuable service to CBSE Bharat Sahodaya as a moderator. So Jyoti ma'am, wholeheartedly I invite you to moderate this grand session. Please ma'am, over to you.
A grand welcome to our Jyoti Jain ma'am. Ma'am, stage is yours.
Thank you so much, sir, for your kind words. Thank you, Jarvis. Thank you, the technical team. Thank you, Sarta ma'am, for the warm welcome. Human learning has the hallmark of learning concepts from diverse sources of information. Classrooms today are full of diversity. To address the diverse needs of variety of students in a single classroom setting, today we are here to define the usage of differentiated and inclusive instructions, its characteristics and strategies, how to assess students continuously throughout the year with a differentiated pathway, and the benefits of differentiated instruction and inclusive education. A warm good evening to everyone present here. Before we begin today's program, I would like to extend my gratitude to Dr. Abdul Salam sir and BTAG for giving me this wonderful opportunity of moderating an interesting webinar today. I also extend a very warm welcome to all the participants. It is indeed a pleasure to have each one of you as the integral part of this webinar. as we join together on this awesome journey of discussion on panoramic learning, anecdotal recording, differential teaching, and inclusive strategies in this 173rd web training series by BTAG. BTAG deals with the Panoramic learning program, which consists of inclusive and differential teaching, the learning strategies explaining the anecdotal records to help teachers track the behavior of the learners. Dear participants, BTAG and CBSE Bharat Sahodaya community, along with today's remarkably talented resource person, Ms. Anjali Nair, will seek to provide you valuable inputs in this yet another field of education. In addition to this, training of teacher candidates on this topic is very crucial. Individual differences among students will always exist. A challenge as a teacher is to see that these problems are not problems, but fix them as opportunities to enrich and make the learning accessible for all. So, before we begin today's session, there are a few things I would like to brief about. Any query during the session can be conveyed through the meeting chat box. In order to have an interactive experience, you may dispel your doubts by asking questions. Kindly virtually raise your hand and wait for your name to be called out for asking your query. The participants will have the opportunity to receive a certificate only after filling up the certificate feedback form, the link for which will be shared at the end of the session. Kindly stay connected till the end. Leadership should be more participative than directive, more enabling than performing. What an apt quote to introduce the director of BTAG, Dr. Abdul Salam Sir. He has proved to be an engaging leader than being directive. He has been constantly striving hard to bring the team of educators share knowledge under the platform from various parts of the world. Dr. Abdul Salam is a profound CBSE resource person and a master trainer, also the principal of Vibcure High, Bengaluru. He owns the credit of being the founder of BTAG, Bharat Transformers Academic Group, a syndicate of educators and the teaching society across the globe, connecting them to empower the nation. Sir, your innovative ways have definitely been helping the teaching fraternity. I wish to extend a cordial welcome to you. Also, we are grateful and thankful for making the session so lively and enriching. Welcome, sir. I now invite you to take over the session and deliver the welcome address. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Miss Jyoti, and good evening once again, everybody. Well, in fact, we are at the 173rd web training series of BTAG and Bharat Sahodaya. This is an interesting topic. I'm not going to talk about the topic. Let me talk about the resource person today, a very promising, very talented educator who has been, following us for long, and is very keen to exchange her expertise and experience and realm of knowledge with us. And I'm very pretty sure that we are going to get a lot of takeaways from this session. So let's all lend our ears to her and enrich ourselves. And on all behalf of each and everyone who has joined this particular session, I extend a warm welcome to Anjali Nair and my team, Jyoti ma'am, Sarita, Arun Mohan, and all the educators for this special topic, panoramic learning. Yes, Anjali ma'am, I may not be able to be here for long. I am traveling, but I was able to join this time. I may be leaving, but definitely I will be watching your session. And I request Sarita ma'am to wind up the session. This is the very reason I requested Sarita ma'am and Arun Mohan to record the session, so that if one gets failed, and the session will be available. So wish you all the best, Anjali ma'am and Jyoti ma'am, everyone. Thank you so much. Enjoy the evening. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us, sir. Thank you so much. The next to honor us with her presence is our distinguished General Secretary of Bharat Sahodaya, Dr. Jayanti. Dr. Jayanti is having more than 3 decades of experience in different capacities. We welcome you, ma'am. We are extremely privileged to have you here.
Jyoti ma'am, I don't think so. Ma'am, Jyoti ma'am, I don't think so. Jayanti ma'am has been able to join. We can go ahead.
Okay, ma'am. Ladies and gentlemen, it's now time to turn our attention to the main attraction of today's webinar. Joining us today is the highly skilled and talented Ms. Anjali Nair. With over 2 decades of experience, Ms. Anjali Nair has established herself as a seasoned educator in the field of education management. Her career journey reflects a strong commitment to the student-centered learning, effective communication, and a profound passion for teaching. Ms. Anjali holds a distinguished academic background with an MA and B.Ed qualification. Her expertise spans across diverse areas, including research, e-learning, classroom management, lesson planning, and education technology. Notably, Ms. Anjali is an exceptional contributor who has earned her recognition as exemplified by her ranking in top 30% of passionate educators worldwide in the prestigious International Teachers Olympiad 2022. Her achievements also extend to becoming the first educator for an IB school in Madhya Pradesh to have an article published on International Baccalate's blog. Her impactful teaching training sessions underline her commitment to excellence. In essence, she embodies the essence of a lifelong learner and a transformative educator. We are honored to have you with us today, ma'am. On behalf of everyone present, with all respect and regards, I welcome you and request you to take over the proceedings for the evening. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, Jyoti ma'am, for such a wonderful introduction. Thank you, Sarita ma'am and Arun sir. I want to express my heartfelt gratitude to Abdul Salam sir for this incredible opportunity. I'm truly honored to have been chosen for this opportunity, and I'm committed to putting in my best effort to make the most of it. So let's begin. Ma'am, am I audible, Sarita ma'am?
Yes, yes, Anjali. Yes, you are.
Thank you, ma'am. So let's begin with a famous quote by Mr. Kailash Satyarthi. He once said, and I quote, "Every child matters. If we fail our children, we are bound to fail our present, our future, faith, cultures, and civilizations as well." A warm welcome to today's webinar, focusing on the paramount themes of inclusion, differentiation, and anecdotal records in education. Before we delve into the exciting world of inclusive education and differentiation, let's start by assessing our collective prior knowledge. So the ice-breaking activity will help us understand where we stand and create a foundation for our webinar journey. So I'm sharing my screen and I need your inputs, all the participants. I hope the screen is visible.
Yes, ma'am.
I want the participants to just go to menti.com and enter the code.
Ma'am, I hope you have pasted the link in the chat box.
I haven't done.
Anjali ma'am, to share the link for the Mentimeter.
The link has been shared. I'm waiting for your inputs. So as we can see on my screen, inclusive education is only about students with disabilities. And we can see the votes. Differentiation is time-consuming and challenging to implement. Inclusive classrooms benefit all students, not just those with special needs. Inclusive education requires collaboration between teachers and support staff. And I'm familiar with differentiating content in my lessons. Most important part, are you familiar with differentiating content, or are you aware of differentiation? So I can see that there are many who are not aware of this concept and they need more inputs to this. Fine, let's begin with the presentation then. I've got the feedback from the participants, most of the participants. So now today's agenda is about inclusion, differentiation, and anecdotal records. Jyoti ma'am, hope my screen is visible.
It's visible.
Thank you, ma'am. So let's talk about inclusion and what exactly is inclusion. So inclusion is a philosophy which embraces the idea that everyone has something of value to contribute and that everyone has the right to belong. So here we are talking about children, the students in our class. Every child has a right to belong and every child has something of value to contribute. So it's our duty as teachers to understand that. So let's brainstorm. What is a thin line of difference between exclusion, separation, integration, and inclusion? So, exclusion. As you can see in the image, what exclusion means? When students are denied access to education, that is exclusion. Segregation is education which is provided in a separate environment. Integration is placing students in existing mainstream as long as they can adjust. So it depends on their capability of adjustment. And when it comes to inclusion, it is a process of systemic reformation, modifying the content, methods, approaches in education. So what is inclusion? As we all are aware, that diversity is the mix, and we have a diverse classroom. We have diversity in each classroom, and inclusion is making the mix work. Inclusion helps us to make the diversity in the classroom work. So now we're going to see stepwise how we are going to do that. The most important thing for any teacher is the ABC of inclusion. So I'm going to talk about, this is ABC of inclusion for every educator. Every educator should know about what are the basics of inclusion. So now, as you can see in the image, I'm going one by one. A stands for all means all. You are not going to segregate, you're not going to integrate, you're not going to exclude any child from the classroom. You're going to include each and every child. All means all. Behavior. B stands for behavior. Behavior is a kind of communication. When we're talking about behavior, it may be the teacher's behavior towards the students, how you're going to include each child in your classroom. So behavior is a kind of communication. C stands for choice. So you have to give choices in how and what the students want to learn. So choice is an important element of inclusion. Be a behavior detective. What is a behavior detective? Every teacher has to act like a detective. Who is a behavior detective? So to be a successful behavior detective, you have to watch your child and document what is happening with your child's behavior throughout their day. So to document, observe your child carefully and document their behavior. So you have to become a behavior detective. E, everyone starts together. Irrespective of the background of the child, irrespective of any disability of the child, every child in your class must start together. So everyone starts together. Next is F. F stands for fair. Fair doesn't always mean equal. So fair means everyone gets their needs met. So we have to take care of the needs of every child. Growth mindset. Encourage a belief that you can. You have to encourage growth mindset in students. Every child should understand and should have the confidence that he or she can do that, can excel. H, honor each child, respect each child. Independence. Let the child be independent. Let the child take the responsibility of his or her learning. Make the child independent. J stands for joyful learning. Make your classrooms interactive. Use strategies to include each and every child. K stands for kids. Kids do well if they think they can. So we have to show that trust in children that they can. So kids do well when they think they can. L, lead with strategies. You have to use many strategies based on the need of the child in your class. M is movement breaks. Everyone needs a break. Even children need break. So movement breaks is at at intervals of the day when you offer them the opportunity to re-energize the body, and their brain also needs time to process learning and prepare for future learning. So movement breaks, they need break. Need-based. Our teaching learning should be need-based, needs-based teaching learning. Open-mindedness. Every educator has to be open-minded. Plan and purpose. Always be a well-planned educator. You should have a purpose, learning objectives when you enter the classroom. Question unexpected behavior. If you find any unexpected behavior in the classroom, you have to question why. What is the reason behind this unexpected behavior of the child? So you have to delve in deep into the problems of the child. Relationship, the teacher-taught relationship. You should have a positive relationship with your child. Self-regulation. Self-regulation allows students to become less reactive and more proactive. So as educators, we have to encourage children to become more proactive than reactive. Technology, include a lot of technology in your teaching. Unconditional, that is positive. You should, regard and respect each and every child. Your love towards each child should be unconditional. Visuals, the written word, graphics, pictures, outdoor visuals, include a lot of visuals in your classroom. Words make worlds. It's the idea that you and I create reality socially through language and conversation. So use of proper language and conversation in the classroom. So it will help the child to excel. So words make worlds. Extra processing time. Give that extra processing time to the child who needs that extra time. The power of yet. A realization that some things are worth waiting for, and those things take time to work. So you have to make them believe in the power of yet. And last but not the least, zone of proximal development. What is this zone of proximal development? It is the space between what a learner can do without assistance and what a learner can do with assistance or in collaboration. So that zone between what he can do and on his own and what he can do with the assistance of someone. So that zone is known as the zone of proximal development. So this is the ABC of inclusion for every educator. So the famous quotation by Carol Tomlinson, she has written a book on differentiation, and she has always suggested that the teacher should look eyeball to eyeball with the reality that kids differ in classroom. We have to accept the fact that each child is unique, and we have to cater to the difference and the differentiation in the classroom. So your role is like a cook who knows that you have to nourish each child in your class, but you may not have to serve the same thing to every child in the class. It's not necessary that every child in your class eats peanut butter to get nourished. You can serve them what they want. So a successful teacher, a teacher who caters to differentiation, has many recipes and has many things in the menu, and you can serve what the child wants. So it's not that every child in the class, everyone in the class has to eat the same thing. So a successful teacher is one who can cater to the needs of the child. Then comes the anecdotal record that plays a crucial role in monitoring and promoting the success of students in an inclusive classroom. Now, if you think that I have been providing them with different recipes and different menu, and then I have been providing them not only peanut butter, I'm giving them whatever they want, but still there are few, they are not interested in eating what I'm serving. So then you have to introspect what's going wrong. What is the thing that I'm missing out? So here for your rescue comes the anecdotal record. If you have a record of each and every child in your class, you will be able to work on it. And the next time you can work on it better and you will get the better results. So anecdotal records are very important. So this is a flowchart that will help you understand the agenda of today's session. Inclusive education is the underlying philosophy And within this framework of inclusive education and inclusion, differentiation is used to cater to individual students' needs. Anecdotal records play a crucial role by providing teachers with valuable information to guide their differentiated instructional practices. Inclusive education, differentiation, and anecdotal record, inseparable. So inclusion differentiation is like creating a garden where all flowers, each nurtured in its unique way, and educators use the anecdotal record carefully to tend to the growth of each individual bud. So now, participants, you have to observe the coming 3 slides very carefully because there is a questionnaire for you. We are going to look into 3 classrooms and there will be some questions based on this. So please observe it carefully. I'm going to read it out for you. We are going to look into 3 classrooms. This is classroom number 1, Miss Appleton's classroom. Miss Appleton is teaching about ancient Rome. The social science teachers may be able to relate to it. She's teaching about ancient Rome. Her students are reading the textbook in class today. She suggests that they take notes of important details as they read. When they finish, they answer the questions at the end of the chapter. Tomorrow, they will answer the questions together in the class. So, Miss Appleton likes to lecture and works hard to prepare her lectures. She expects students to take notes, and she will give students a study sheet before the test, clearly spelling out what will be on the test. Please read it carefully. This is Miss Appleton's classroom. Next, classroom number 2, Miss Baker's classroom. Now, Miss Baker uses graphic organizers to guide students' reading and ensure they grasp important details about ancient Rome from the textbook. She employs a variety of engaging activities, including visual aids, dressing up, and a Roman banquet to immerse students in the culture and history of ancient Rome. Students explore Rome through different activities such as word search puzzles, movie clips, reading myths, enhancing their understanding and making connections to prior knowledge. Now, Mrs. Baker also fosters a collaborative learning environment by encouraging students to study together for the test and offering a choice of 10 projects to make the subject more enjoyable and personalized. Students have the freedom to propose their own topics for projects, allowing them to explore specific aspects of ancient Rome that interest them the most. This is Miss Baker's classroom. Classroom number 3, Miss Castle's classroom. Students work on 2 sequential tasks in the unit, assuming the role of someone from ancient Rome based on their interests and comparing their lives to children in ancient Rome based on readiness. Students use various resources to understand their chosen role in ancient Rome. Small group sessions address readiness levels, providing differentiated support and coaching. Specific questions of varying difficulty levels are added to each student's investigation based on recent assessments. Students use different media to express their findings, and homework options allow for personalized understanding and skill development. Whole group planning, work, review, and debate also takes place. This is Miss Castle's classroom. So Miss Appleton's classroom, Miss Baker's classroom, and Miss Castle's classroom. These are the 3 different classrooms. I hope everyone has gone through this. So let's check your understanding. Jyoti ma'am, I would need your help. Maybe they have to write in the chat box.
Sure, ma'am.
Now participants, you have seen 3 classrooms. So you have to name the teacher who knows what she wants the students to know, but not what her students should understand and able to do. Please read the question again. Name the teacher who knows what she wants the students to know, but not what her students should understand and able to do. I want the answer for this question in the
Yes,
chat.
ma'am. We have the answers in the chat from most of the participants. We have Mrs. Appleton. And the
Yes.
first to answer is Dr. Huma. And one of the participants has also answered Miss Castle's classroom.
Okay, I think Dr. Uma, I think her answer is correct. It's Miss Appleton.
Dr. Huma.
Dr. Huma, okay.
Yeah, and there are various other participants, Miss Neelam, Miss Bindu, Miss Anju, Miss Ritu Joshi, Miss Raji, Miss Renuka. Miss Renuka has answered Miss Baker's classroom.
Okay, the correct answer for this is Miss Appleton's classroom. Next question. Name the teacher who thinks that she is differentiating instruction, but there is no defensible differentiation.
Again, we have Dr. Huma to answer the first, Miss Baker's classroom, followed by Miss Nasreen as Miss Baker, Miss Sophia, Miss Anju. Miss Sushi has answered as Miss Castle. Miss Kavita has answered Miss Baker. Miss Miftahul has answered Miss Baker. Miss Renuka has answered Miss Castle.
Okay, I think the majority they have
is answering Miss Baker. Yes.
Yeah, and the answer is correct. It's Miss Baker. Thank you so much, participants. The last question. No, not the last question. Question number 3. Name the teacher. Name this teacher. This teacher teaches facts, but no key concepts, guiding principles, or essential questions.
Here we have Miss Vidya to answer first as Miss Castle, followed by many other participants. We have an enthusiastic educator group over here answering, I think, to the core with the correct answers, except a few who are going by, not by Miss Castle, rather Miss Appleton.
So this teacher teaches facts, but no key concepts, guiding principle, or essential questions. So it's correct. It's Miss Appleton.
Okay, so for Miss Appleton, only one person has answered Miss Appleton. No. Miss Swagata Das has answered Miss Appleton. Then we have Miss Sanita has answered Miss Appleton. And Miss Karthika has answered Miss Appleton.
Okay, ma'am. Let's move to, thank you, Jyoti ma'am. The next question. Now, this is the most crucial question. Name the teacher who invites each student to wonder.
So yes, with a quick response, we are getting a good input here. Great amount of answers uploaded here.
So what is the answer, Jyoti ma'am?
Most of them are mentioning Miss Castle.
Correct, ma'am. Correct,
Miss
ma'am.
Sima has answered Miss Appleton.
Miss
Miss
Castle.
Castle has
Yeah. Thank
answered
you.
Miss Appleton.
Yes, thank you, participants. Your answer is correct. So the teacher who will invite each student to wonder is the teacher who is catering to differentiation. So the correct answer is Miss Castle, and she is the teacher who is the champion of differentiation. So who is the champion? The champion teacher is Miss Castle. Now, there may be few queries. How? How is it possible? You know, Miss Baker is also using so many strategies in the class. Then why is she not the champion of differentiation? There may be few questions coming in your mind. So it's the time to analysis. Let's analyze why so. Please look at the chart carefully, participants. You'll come to know why Miss Castle is the winner. If you talk about approach, Miss Appleton and Miss Baker, they're teaching fact. Miss Appleton is teaching fact without deeper understanding, and Miss Baker is teaching fact without any clarity or any relevance. While if we talk about Miss Castle, she plans for deeper understanding and engagement. If you talk about vision, vision. So Miss Appleton has a vague sense of end goals. There is no end goal, learning objectives or learning outcomes. While when we talk about Miss Baker, she also lacks clarity on subject's significance. While Miss Castle has a clear vision with specific learning objectives. When we talk about student engagement, Miss Appleton has limited engagement in her classroom through facts. The engagement is through facts. And Miss Baker, she confuses engagement with differentiated instruction. So it means using a lot of engagements in the class or strategies in the class will not make your classroom a classroom which caters to differentiation. Miss Castle emphasizes relevance, curiosity, and interest. So learning engagements in Miss Castle's classroom is based on the curiosity and interest of children in her class. So there is no differentiation in Miss Appleton's classroom, and Miss Baker thinks she is differentiating, but she is not. She has a lot of activities and projects, but that is not differentiation. But Miss Castle, she actively differentiates to meet individual needs of students in her classroom. So Miss Castle is the champion teacher. So participants, differentiation is responsive teaching rather than one-size-fits-all teaching. We explain the content, and we expect each and every child to understand that through one way. So it is not differentiation. It is responsive teaching. We have to respond to the needs of children. If we are trying to look at kids' needs and trying to reach out, we are trying to differentiate. So if you're catering to the needs of each and every child in class, then you are differentiating. So when we talk about differentiation is guided by general principles. These are the general principles of differentiation, which you can see on the screen. Respectful task, quality curriculum, flexible grouping, continual assessment, and building community. These are the general principles of differentiation. So when we talk about respectful tasks, so as an English teacher, I have shared some examples of English classroom. What do you mean by respectful tasks? So tasks that are designed in such a way that you honor and value each child's uniqueness. So you'll not design one task for all the students of the class. So your task should be respectful. So some examples I have given here. You can see the examples like culturally relevant literature when you talk about English. So include books and poems and short stories that represent different ethnicities, races, and traditions. You can assign them personal narrative writing tasks that allow students to share their own experiences, interests, and perspectives. And you can organize book clubs where students can choose from a selection of diverse books. And then flexible book reviews that provide options for book reviews such as written essays, audio recordings, or visual presentation. It's not like everyone has to write the book review. So you are giving them this flexibility. Next, quality curriculum. What are the main characteristics of a quality curriculum? It is relevance, coherence, rigor, and differentiation. A quality curriculum is always relevant to students' life, interests, and needs. It is coherent, that is, it is well organized, structured, and logically sequenced. A quality curriculum is rigorous, setting high expectations for student learning and academic achievement. But see, teachers need to be proactive. So we have to be well planned. We know our students' needs. We know that we have to meet the expectations of curriculum completion and syllabus completion, and the curriculum is rigorous. So we have to be proactive and we have to plan our strategies, and we have to be well prepared before we enter our classes. A quality curriculum also incorporates differentiation to address diverse needs, abilities, and interests of students. Flexible grouping. What do you mean by flexible grouping? No, you are making them sit in the same way every time. You're entering the classroom, students are sitting, you are teaching, you're coming back. There is no flexible grouping in the classroom. So every classroom, whether it is English, Hindi, or social science, or mathematics, or science, you have to think about flexible grouping. Like form small groups in English classroom, for example, literature circles. You may have students who are good in writing skills, who are not, who may need more attention. You can have a mixed group of students. You can have collaborative discussions in the classroom, debates in the classroom where you have a mixed group of students. Then you can have vocabulary stations in your classroom, like different activities in different stations. Some activities will be based on synonyms, antonyms. Some activity may be based on some other part of vocabulary. So you can have vocabulary stations in your classroom. So this way, students get a chance to interact with other students in the classroom. So flexible grouping is the most important part of differentiation. Continuous assessment. When we talk about continuous assessment, it means the formative assessments. Like you have to assess students throughout, like only the paper pen tests that we conduct at the end of a term is not continuous assessment. It has to be conducted throughout the session and without even giving the students the stress that they are going to appear for a test. It can be continuous through quizzes, like exit tickets, quick writes. You give them 5 minutes time to write on something, and then one-on-one writing conferences. Like, and you can the students who need some help, you can have a one-on-one conversation with them, and then you can have them tell them to maintain reading logs or journals for English, where they can record their thoughts, reflections, questions about the text they are reading. This can be used in any subject, reading logs and journals. So they can just jot down their reflections, their questions. Then you can discuss about their thoughts, their reflections in the classroom. You can have peer learning in the classroom. The students who understand everything very well, you can have a flexible grouping, a mixed group discussion in the classroom where children can help each other. Then self-assessment, peer assessment, portfolio assessment, reading comprehension quizzes. All these are some of the strategies that can be used in the classroom throughout a year. And you can even plan better activities as per the need of your subject. Now, the guiding principle, the last aspect of the guiding principle is building a strong community of learners, a community that is built on mutual respect. So when you start the school year, you can start with some icebreaker activities that will help students to get to know each other. So it's important that students know each other well. So start your session with some icebreaker activities, have collaborative learning and student-led activities in the class instead of always the teachers instructing about the activities. Let the students take the lead and suggest some activities. Established, now every teacher should have some classroom norms and values. And these classroom norms and values can be drafted with the help of students in the classroom. You can use flexible seating arrangements that allow students to choose where they sit, fostering a sense of comfort and autonomy. Sometimes it's fine. You may think that these flexible seating arrangements may lead to distractions or indiscipline in the classroom, but it's not necessary that every time it has to be there, but you can always promote and you should always encourage flexible seating arrangements in your classroom. Then hold some morning meetings where students can share their thoughts, feelings whenever you enter the class. If you have a period 1 in the classroom, then have some morning meetings. If you're a class teacher, then have a morning meeting where the students can share their thoughts, feelings, and goals for the day, which can be written in the classroom on the softboard. And students should know that this is the goal that we are going to achieve today. This is a word of the day, and this is a theme of the day. So this will, make them feel valued and respected. And then embrace and celebrate the diversity of the students in your classroom. So you have to accept that each child is unique in your class, and you have to accept the diversity, and you have to appreciate each student's efforts in the classroom. Sometimes we forget, sometimes we, not deliberately, but we may ignore few students in our class. So try to value, try to, appreciate each child's effort. Every child is unique in his or her own way. So appreciate each child in your class. Let them feel valued. So this is a way to build a community based on mutual respect. We can also, after the guiding principles of differentiation, let's talk about how teachers can differentiate through content, process, product, and effect. So what is differentiation through content? That is what we want students to master, the knowledge and skills that students need to master. That is the content. Then process these are the activities that students use to master the content. Then product, the methods used by students to demonstrate their learning. And then the environment of the classroom. So we have to differentiate through all these. So let's take an example of a science classroom. First of all, I talked about the social science classroom when we talked about ancient Rome. I told you some strategies of the English classroom. Now let's talk about the science classroom. Let's take an example of teaching the concept of photosynthesis in a biology class. So how will you differentiate the content? So you can have different texts about photosynthesis, some simplified texts, and some texts that are in-depth. So based on the child's need in your class, you can give them different texts. It's not that we are giving them just one textbook and they all have to read that textbook. NCERT is compulsory, they have to read, but you can simplify it, simplify the content for some students of your class who need special care. You can use various multimedia resources, a lot of videos, animations, and interactive stimulations in the class to explain the concept. So a lot of resources need to be used in the classroom, apart from the textbooks that you're using. Then diagrams, flow charts that will help students to visualize the process. There may be some students who may not understand what you are, the lecture method. They may not be able to get the lecture method. So for them, you need some diagrams, some flow charts. They are good when you show them some visual aids. So visualizing process becomes easier for some students. So you should use all sort of, content and resources in your classroom. Now, providing different pathways, as I told you, that if you are a good cook, you want that every child in your class should get the nourishment. So you don't have to serve them the same thing to eat. So you have to find different ways to nourish the child. Some may learn better if they are watching a video or interactive stimulation that introduce the basic concepts of photosynthesis. Then some may understand through teacher-led demonstration. Some may understand better through a group discussion or a Socratic seminar, or some may learn better through hands-on activities. So there may be different kinds of students in your class, and you have to use all these strategies, all these different ways, so that a child may grasp the concept in the way that he or she finds it interesting. So whichever way the child finds interesting, the child will grasp that. So use different ways of, delivering the content in the classroom. These are some examples for the science teachers. Product. Now, what are the different ways in which the students get the time to engage with the content, and maybe they'll present their learning? So what is the different ways in which they can present their learning? Maybe a written report. They may also have some visual presentation, or a model or diagram in science, or a debate or story writing and storytelling. Some students are not interested in science. They may be more interested in languages. So give them the opportunity to present their understanding in the form of a story writing or storytelling or comic strips. So basically, what is your intention? The child should understand the concept of photosynthesis, and the child can present it in any way or he or she wishes to. So we cannot compel them to present in one particular way. So this is called as differentiation through product. And when we talk about effect, or the emotional and physical learning environment. So always, as I told you about the ABC of a teacher who wants to, follow inclusive education. So you have to build relationships, create a welcoming and inclusive classroom atmosphere where students feel valued and respected, and they will learn if they like the teacher. If they feel welcomed, if they feel respected, they'll listen to you, they'll love your subject. Always provide choices and address their emotional needs. Some days may not be good for some students. So encourage, try to understand a child's need, be empathetic in the class, and always celebrate a little, small personal achievements can be appreciated in the classroom. And always foster a growth mindset and give constructive feedback. And teachers is most important, giving constructive feedback instead of, telling them, oh, this was wrong, this was wrong, this was wrong. You can help, you can give them a feedback that will help them improve. You have to provide them a positive and constructive feedback so that they do better next time. So it's time to vote again. So I'm sharing the link in the chat box, participants. I think there's some problem with this.
Anjali ma'am, is there a problem with the link?
Yes, ma'am, there's a problem with the link. So let me see if I can do something later.
Yeah.
Move ahead, ma'am.
Participants, could you please wait? Miss Anjali is getting it done.
Ma'am, let me move ahead. I think there's some problem. So we'll go to the next slide, ma'am.
Sure, ma'am, sure.
I'm extremely sorry, participants. I think there's some problem with the link. We'll go to the next slide. And if I can see if it works later. So let's come to the next part of differentiation, that is differentiation according to the students. So the need, the readiness, the interest, and the learning profile of students. So teachers can differentiate according to students' readiness, interest, and the learner profile. So how is this going to happen? Readiness, what does readiness mean? It refers to a student's current level of knowledge, skill, and understanding of a particular subject or concept. So by understanding, by addressing each student's readiness level, educators can provide them opportunities to learn and provide them appropriate challenges and support. So readiness is current level of understanding of a child. So you may have, prior knowledge assessment strategies in the class. So with the help of which you can assess the prior knowledge of a child in the class and then plan your lessons. So some strategies for this may be like you can, in a language class, you can have different forms of labeled reading groups based on the students' learning abilities. And in a social or science classroom, like a history classroom, you can have tiered assignments like of a specific historical events. You can give different levels of complexity in the task. And then you can also, in the mathematics classroom, you can have different math stations in the classroom, depending on the readiness of the child. So for that, you have to understand what is the current understanding level of the child. Then comes interest. So when the students are engaged in topics they find interesting, they are more motivated to learn. So we have to focus on learning experiences that align with the interests of students in your classroom. For example, you can have choice-based reading in English classroom. You can have some passion projects that is based on their interest in science classroom. And then you can have choice boards, and you can have a menu of activities from which the child can choose the activity of his interest for the current topic or skill. This can be applicable for any subject. Then the learner profile. As we know that there are learners with different strengths and preferences. So you have to tailor your instructions as per the learner profile of your students, the strengths and weaknesses of your students. So we have kinesthetic learners in the class. So plan some hands-on activities for them. Visual learners, you can have, have graphing, charting activities for them. Auditory learners, you can involve them in group discussions and problem-solving strategies allowed. So there are different strategies for different students. This example can use for any subject. I have given it for mathematics. So based on the student, you can plan the activities as per the need of your subject. I want the answer for this question, participants. What's the correct option? Please read the question. Mrs. Johnson is planning a science lesson for her 5th grade class. She wants to apply differentiation strategies to accommodate her students' diverse needs. Which of the following options best demonstrates differentiation based on readiness, interest, and learner profile? 4 options are visible on the screen. Which option do you think best demonstrates differentiation based on readiness, interest, and learner profile? Readiness is
which are coming from the audience are option D. Most of the educators are answering the option as D.
Yes, ma'am. D is the correct option. So I think you have understood what is differentiation based on readiness, interest, and learner profile. I'm so glad that you have answered it correctly. Now let's come to anecdotal record. That's the last part of our agenda today. So what are anecdotal records? We have already, I already told you before, but still. So what's the role? It's the role to document students' behavior, his or her interaction with other students and teachers in the classroom, and academic progress. So to document all these, you need anecdotal records. And also to gather valuable insights into each student's strengths, weaknesses, and learning patterns. Then to facilitate and provide individualized support, inform and how to plan differentiation strategies, and how will you aid, how will you communicate with parents and the support staff in the school? So for all these purposes, you need anecdotal records. And what are the benefits? It will help you in identifying the learning gaps and address the academic challenges. It will help you monitor the social and emotional development, enabling early intervention. If a child is facing an emotional or social problem, then you can help the child and we can intervene early. And then document the progress of the child over time, providing a holistic view of a child's growth. Like this anecdotal record can be carried forward to the next session, can be given to the teacher who will be teaching the child in the next class. So it will be helpful to monitor the progress of the child. Some tips when you write anecdotal record or when you maintain anecdotal record: be specific and objective, and record observable behaviors and actions without assumptions or judgment. You do not assume things. You should not judge a child. You should record whatever you observe. And use descriptive language, like you have to describe actions, interactions, and accomplishments of the child in detail. Strengths, weakness, everything. Include context, like in what context you have written the anecdotal record and the circumstances surrounding the observed behavior. So if a child is behaving in a certain way, so you have to become a behavior detective, as I told earlier. Be a behavior detective. And this is a sample anecdotal record for you teachers. So what all should be there? Name of the student, grade, date and place, and the name of the observer. So what is the objective of this anecdotal record that I have displayed here? The objective is, during an English class focused on literary analysis, students were asked to read a short story and identify the central theme and supporting evidence. Sarah actively engaged with the text, taking notes and showing genuine enthusiasm for the task. So this is the objective description. And then the comments of the observer, that Sarah has demonstrated a deep understanding of the story's central theme and supported her analysis with specific evidence from the text. She actively participated in the class discussion, respectfully engaging with her peers' interpretations and providing constructive feedback. In the group activity, she displayed strong leadership skills, distributing tasks among the group members and encouraging a collaborative environment where everyone felt comfortable sharing their ideas. So this is a sample anecdotal record. With this, participants, we are about to conclude our session. So today, as educators, let's pledge that we'll promote inclusivity, will embrace diversity, and will implement differentiation strategies to create a supportive and equitable learning environment for all students. So let's take a pledge today. Remember, educators, in the tapestry of education, inclusion weaves threads of diversity, equity, and empowerment. Through differentiation, we tailor each stitch to celebrate the uniqueness of every learner. As educators, let us embrace the transformative power of inclusive education and differentiation. For it is in the richness of our diversity that true learning flourishes and the seeds of a brighter future are sown. Sarita ma'am, I just would like to show them one video if time permits.
I'm sure you can go ahead, ma'am. No problem.
We have one video that I'd like to show.
Sure, ma'am, sure. And participants, just a minute, ma'am. Participants, the link is not valid. I have checked it. So please check it at your end. Jyoti ma'am, if you could also please check it. I think the link is working well enough.
I'll check it and I'll get back to you, Sarita ma'am.
Yes, ma'am, sure. Anjali ma'am, you can go ahead.
Yes, ma'am.
How does it go? You tried to add, but the numbers came out wrong. You tried to say, but you didn't know the whole song. You tried to cook, but the food it didn't taste right. You tried to dunk, but you didn't get enough hype. You didn't do it right, but keep trying and you learn now. You just what you get is soon out there. That's the power of the yet. That's the power of the yet. That's what you get with the power of the yet. You tried to ride, but you couldn't make the letter up. You tried to jump, but you didn't make it better. You tried to drum, but you couldn't find a downbeat. You tried to dance, but you tripped on your own feet. Just breathe, don't lose control. Keep trying, you reach your goal. You just didn't get it, but you'll make it soon, I bet. It's the power of the yet. It's the power of the yet. Ready, get set. Power of the yet. Break it down now. There's no mountain you can climb. It just takes a little time. Cause you got what it takes. You learn from your mistakes. Try and come again. One day you step up and there. You try to add and you get the right answer. You sing a song and you be a great dancer. You dunk the ball and you make the right letter. Everything you do it better. This is what you get. This is what you get. This is what you get. With the power of the yet. That's the power of the yet. And that is what you get. And that is what you get. And that's what you get. The power of the yet. Tourists that turn into scientists. Tourists photographing thousands of miles of remote coral reefs that can be analyzed by AI in real time. So researchers can identify which areas are at risk and help life underwater flourish.
Sarita ma'am, the link is working. I just checked it.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, ma'am.
Anjali ma'am, you're not audible.
I think all participants will agree that the session was truly an enlightening one, Jyoti ma'am.
Yes, ma'am,
A
definitely.
lot of preparation has gone into it. I mean, including the presentation and the content delivered. I'm very, very, very happy to see it. Participants, by the time, I think we can take a few questions or even the remarks if anyone would like to share.
Sure, ma'am. Yeah, I would like to thank Anjali ma'am for this session, for this such an informative and enlightening session. And I feel proud to be a part of this session. Definitely her words of wisdom have added to our intellect. And we have the subject experts here, and they have acquired the skill of making their classrooms equipped with differential learning and inclusive strategies, with the amalgamation of all the strategies which have been shared by Anjali ma'am right now. So you can raise your hands and we can take up your questions, dear participants. 2 questions, in fact, I received in the chat as well. I would like to share it with Anjali ma'am if she is okay. We have Ritu Joshi ma'am and Sheila ma'am. Anjali ma'am, can you hear us?
Ma'am, you're on mute.
I think we lost the contact.
No. Anjali ma'am, you're on mute. Please unmute yourself. Yeah.
So we have a query from Sheila ma'am. Ma'am, you can ask your question, Sheila ma'am.
Good evening, madam. Am I audible?
Yes, you are audible. Please go ahead.
Madam, the link which you have set for certificate is showing invalid actually.
Please check it, ma'am. Refresh. I would suggest you save the link. Go back and check because we have checked it. It is working just fine, ma'am. Jyoti ma'am has also checked it. It's working just fine. So please save it and you can go back later on. Okay? Thank you.
Okay, thank you, madam. Thank you.
Thank you, Sheila ma'am, for your query. Ritu Joshi ma'am, you can ask your question.
Good evening, ma'am. I have the same query. I think I'm audible to all of you.
Yes, ma'am, you are audible.
I must say the session is very interesting and it is very approachable also. And we have learned many things from ma'am. Thank you, Anjali ma'am, for your expressive things and the things which you have shared with us. It definitely help us in our classroom teaching. But the link which you have shared for this documents, it is not valid. It is showing invalid. So will you please check it once again for the certificates?
I would repeat the instructions, ma'am. Please save it and go back to it after the session. Sometimes it does happen. So please check it once again. Okay?
Okay.
Yeah,
thank you so much, ma'am.
We have one more query from Realme 5 Pro. You can ask your question. Please go ahead.
Ma'am, same only. The link is showing invalid only. That's what I was saying.
Okay, never mind. So I received a question, ma'am. I think Sarita ma'am has solved the query. Well, you can save the link and you can go back to it later. Anjali ma'am, we have another question for you that I received in the chat, that how to apply whatever you have shared in different, at different school grades and in different subjects.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, can you repeat the question once?
Ma'am, I received the question from one of our educators in the chat box, that at which school grade can this be implemented, and how can we implement whatever you have shared in other subjects as well?
Ma'am, it can be, it is applicable across the grades, like from primary, you can start this, but the level may vary. It depends on the teachers, and you have to research and find out strategies that is age appropriate. Like it is applicable for all the grades, ma'am. Primary also, we can start from primary classes, but the strategies may vary from class to class and depends on the age group of students. So we can work on any class, ma'am. Differentiation works well with all the age levels.
Thank you, ma'am. I hope it answers many of our educators' query. We have Dr. Huma here. She would like to ask a question. Dr. Huma, you can unmute yourself and ask the question. Dr. Huma, you can unmute yourself.
Am I audible to everyone?
Yes, ma'am, you're audible. Please go ahead.
this is not a query actually. It is just the appreciation for the wonderfully conducted session. And thank you, Miss Anjali. It was a mesmerizing session, and I'm very, very sure that each one of us has learned so much from it. So thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Sarita ma'am, can we go ahead with the session?
We have one more query. Somebody, the device name Realme 5 Pro.
Yes.
Dear educator, please, you may go ahead with your query.
Ma'am, actually, can these type of activities which you said can be applicable for social science class too, like you told that flexible group and all?
Yes, ma'am. Definitely, you can. The same thing can be used for different subjects. That's why I took examples of all the subjects here. Most of the subjects, social science and mathematics. And flexible grouping you can have for any subject in the classroom. Like when you're, you have different, different groups of students. You may have to make fixed groups in your classroom for certain content that you're going to deliver, and make some flexible seating arrangement in the classroom, have them discuss in groups. So it is applicable for any subject, ma'am. It depends on the teacher, the creativity of the teacher, how you're going to use these strategies in your classroom, ma'am.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Anjali ma'am, for the for answering the queries of our educators. We have, I think this is still the same hand.
Yes. Any more queries, participants, or we will go ahead with the winding up of the session? Jyoti ma'am, I think we can go ahead with the winding up.
Thank you for the permission. I would like to extend our heartfelt gratitude and a deep sense of appreciation to Ms. Anjali Nair for sharing such boundless discourse. I'm sure we will apply these tenets of teaching in our modus operandi and ensure that our young learners reap the maximum benefit out of it. We truly gained an experience that will last with us, ma'am. Dear participants, kindly note that the link for the certificate in the feedback form has already been posted. Please save it and try filling it later if you're not able to fill it right now. I, Jyoti Jain, along with CBSE Bharat Sahodaya, would like to thank Ms. Anjali Nair once again for her gracious presence and enriching experience. Also, I would like to thank Dr. Abdul Salam Sir for his magnanimous support and guidance to the teaching fraternity. Thank you, sir, for such a great opportunity. Also, a special thanks to Ms. Sarita Warrior ma'am and the technical team, Arun Mohan sir, for yet again a flawless execution of today's session. Most importantly, thank you to all the education fraternity for their enthusiasm and participation with humble support. I sincerely hope that we earned a privilege of your time. So we will see you in the next webinar. Over to you, Sarita ma'am.
Thank you, Jyoti ma'am. Anjali ma'am, that was a fantastic session. It's hard to believe that it's your first session with us. You were an absolute professional at it. It was a joy to attend this session, and the preparation that has gone behind this has been incredible. Hats off to you, ma'am. A big, big congratulations. I'm sure all our participants will agree that they have had a wonderful evening today, and there have been a lot of takeaways at the end of this session. So thank you very much. We look forward to having you again with us on board. Thank you, Jyoti ma'am, for a wonderful job as usual. We have been together for so many sessions. Thank you once again. Arun Mohan sir, thank you as usual for the fantastic technical support that you have provided. A big thank you to all the participants who have joined us today. On behalf of Team BTAG and on behalf of everyone here, I wish you all a good night. Thank you once again. Thank you for joining us. Bye-bye. Yes, ma'am.
Anjali ma'am would like to add on.
Yes, please. Anjali ma'am, go ahead.
To unmute herself. Anjali ma'am, you are unmuted now.
Yes. Anjali ma'am, yes, you are.
Yes, ma'am. Actually, I was not able to speak, and I was trying to speak, and I was trying to convey my gratitude to you, as you were saying. Ma'am, thank you for the wonderful words of motivation, and looking forward to many such wonderful sessions with you, ma'am. I hope I met the expectations. And thank you
Yes,
so much.
ma'am. Certainly, ma'am.
Thank you,
Thank you
Jyoti,
once
ma'am.
again. Thank you once again. Good night, all.
Good night, ma'am.